Eagles now. We get busy, chasing Trizzy. Eagles now. Bruising birds, we keep it litty. Eagles now. Pre-game, post-game, make it look easy. Eagles now. No one likes us, please believe it. Eagles now. Super chats, we keep them coming. Eagles now. Jalen or Booby, keep it running. Eagles now. Shots downtown, AJ Brown. Eagles now. If you ain't know, you know it now. Eagles now.
All right, here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now, live here on Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in. Greatly appreciate all of you for making Philadelphia Eagles Now a part of your day. Now, the Eagles have tried to address what has been an awful rushing defense over the last several weeks by making a signing in NFL free agency this morning, and that's why we're live. So we're going to talk about this and all of the implications that come from it, but also we have to get to some major Eagles injury news as well, because of course, Philadelphia signing Linval Joseph to a one-year contract because their rushing defense has been bad, but also they're suffering from some other injuries at defensive tackle. So the news now official that the Eagles really had to address what has been a historically bad running defense. And could Linval Joseph be the answer? There's no question that he is far from his prime. But it's another body, and a big body at that, at defensive tackle, because the Eagles' injury news that I alluded to, Marvin Tuipulotu is going to IR, and this is a guy who's played a lot over the last couple of weeks at defensive tackle. So now you're without Jordan Davis for the next couple of weeks as he is still on IR. And you lose a depth piece in the process. Linval Joseph should be able to fill the gap in that area. So do you like this signing? Let's hear from you right now. A lot of people getting that notification, starting to pile into our live show. Just let us know. Do you like the signing of Linval Joseph? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. We'll give you some shout-outs here. Jordan saying hello. What up? Big Dog currently rebranding. Dane Styles. They can't stop me. John Horan. All in the chat right now. Also, I'm taking a look at our live poll because another talking point that comes with Linval Joseph, who would you have signed if you were in the shoes of general manager Howie Roseman? Linval Joseph, a defensive tackle who was out there, who's a little bit older than a guy like Ndamukong Suh, who was also out there. Taking a look at our live poll, 58% of the votes going with Linval Joseph and not Ndamukong Suh. So a little bit of an upset and a little bit of a surprise there because obviously Ndamukong Suh is the more notable player as compared to Joseph. And we're talking about an Eagles rushing defense that has gotten gashed the last couple of weeks under defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. All year they've been really good against the pass, led by Darius Slay and James Bradbury. But the Eagles rushing defense has given up 140 or more rushing yards in 3 consecutive games for the first time in franchise history since 2006. As for the Eagles' stats against the run all year, they're one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. And when you look at the DVOA, they're terrible. 22nd in yards per carry among 32 teams. 17th in total rushing yards this year. 18th in first downs allowed. Yards per game is 20th. So could Linval Joseph help cure what has been a bad Eagles rushing defense, one of the worst in the NFL, and one that is causing a lot of people following this loss to the Washington Commanders say that the Eagles have been exposed. Were the Eagles exposed against Washington on Monday Night Football, suffering their first loss of the year? E for exposed, O for overreaction. This is really what it comes down to for me. The Eagles turned the football over 3 times. They got penalized. Their ball security was putrid. They didn't want it as much as the Washington Commanders. They thought that after Josh Sweat had strip-sacked Taylor Heineke and they went down the field and scored 7, that they were going to coast like they have oftentimes this year. Then they got punched in the mouth. They got sloppy. They got complacent. And that's what happens in the NFL when you take your opponents lightly. More on Linval Joseph as more people continue to pile into our show. Linval Joseph is 34 years old. He was a second-round pick of the New York Giants out of East Carolina all the way back in 2010. He has made it to 2 Pro Bowls, 2016 with the Minnesota Vikings and most recently 2017 with Minnesota. And he is a big body in the trenches for an Eagles team that certainly lacks that right now. 6'4", 329 pounds. He played last year with the Los Angeles Chargers. Of note for Linval Joseph is this: He played under Jonathan Gannon when Gannon was in Minnesota. So there's a little bit of a level of familiarity there between Linval Joseph as well as Jonathan Gannon. I want to put you in the shoes of Howie Roseman, because after seeing his defense get throttled once again through that ground game, it became apparent, especially on top of the injuries at defensive tackle that we just talked about, that the Eagles no doubt needed to address defensive tackle. So who would you have picked? LJ for Linval Joseph, and S for Ndamukong Suh. Let us know. We'll give you some shout-outs here. Dane Stiles is still here. Shane Hughes, John Horan, Mike Halo, Ernesto Ojeda, Big Dog 1891, Parama Jordan Davis when he comes back. Nick Stone saying, that's why I always say no game is easy. And no game is easy in the NFL, and that's why I was so impressed at the fact that Philadelphia, up until last week, had basically throttled every single opponent. Brandon Ford is here saying Sue. I see Elijah Stovall saying Linval Joseph. Seamus Gaffney saying both. We'll continue to talk about this. But do want to tell you about our sponsor for today's live show. It is Established Titles. Black Friday is coming up next week, in case you don't know. And if you want the perfect holiday gift that's incredibly unique, Established Titles is where it's at. It's a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, lords, and ladies in English. Title packs give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. So you can get land that we're showing you right here in Scotland. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to support global reforestation efforts moving forward. I want everybody to refer to me as Lord Chase Sr. because you can officially include the title of Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, and dating profiles with a purchase. It makes for a great last-minute gift, and the first 200 people to purchase a title pack and get land right next to me. An amazing last-minute gift with the holiday season coming up around the corner. They're running a massive sale, up to 80% off of their site. And if you use the code CHAT at establishedtitles.com/chat, you save an extra 10% off. So as more people continue to pile in, it's really paramount for you to keep that comment section popping. Like the video, but also let us know where you're watching from. We are live here on Philadelphia Eagles Now from our Chat Sports studios in Dallas, Texas. Most importantly, though, where is everybody watching from? Brandon Ford, I know he's in Dallas using the hashtag Eagles Chase. What are the chances of signing a free agent tight end? If so, who do you think it's going to be? I don't think the Eagles are going to sign a tight end, actually, Brandon. I think that they're going to go and move forward with Grant Calcaterra and Jack Stoll as the top 2 tight ends, and then Tyree Jackson was activated today. So I think they just go with internal candidates at tight end. Peter Thurman is a real one. We already know that. Delco is in the house. Yo, John Delco, let's go. Fly Eagles fly from the great Tate. New York City today from Dane. Upstate New York from Cash. Hawaii from Sayoshi, hopefully I pronounced that right. Ernesto, as we know, in Tucson, Arizona. He's a real one. Big Dog in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania State Capitol. Nick Stone, Chicago. John, you already know with the Delco accent. GJ, when are we supposed to get Davis back? So he has missed 2 weeks so far since getting put on IR. He has to miss at least the next 2 weeks. Short IR stint, at least 4. Shane Hughes, Ohio. Philly from that bowl classic. Jordan Molina from Philadelphia. And Trace, I'm actually going to help you out here. I'm going to put in a Super Chat menu that I was able to put together, I believe. Yeah, use the hashtag Eagles if you have questions for us as well. We'll have a Super Chat menu that we can get cooked up for everybody. I think I lost it. So if you want to get one of the old ones in there, Trace, we could do that. I'll continue to give shout-outs to some of the people. Do like the $50. I think there's a list for in there, Trace, that should work out. Use the hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to get featured on the show. People continuing to get that notification, that's when they're piling in. And we are about to talk about at length the signing of Linval Joseph. What does it mean for this team? Can he help out at all? We'll take a look at his numbers. And does this mean no Ndamukong Suh for Philadelphia? But first, With 125 people watching live, how many likes can we pick up before we start the show? If you're ready for us to dive into this, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. 130 people currently watching live, only 30 likes. Can we get to 100 likes as soon as possible? If you want to break this down further, show us by hitting that thumbs up icon and liking the video. I'm talking to Peter Thurman, Trey Barker, LaShawn Cooper, Gary Fagan, GJ, Big Dog 1891. Getting those questions in right now. LaShawn saying the officiating was horrible on Monday. It was like they were trying to give the game away. I agree, but the Eagles gave the football away with 3 turnovers, and that's the biggest reason that they lost. Jason Kelsey was on his podcast. He said, I hate when people blame the officials. We lost that football game. Here is our Super Chat menu before we dive in. If you want to send in a Super Chat, you're guaranteed to be featured on the show. $5, we'll ring the Liberty Bell. $10, we'll give you the Eagles chant. $20, your name on the Declaration of Independence. And for a $50 Super Chat, we'll do a shotgun or a freedom funnel. We have the Eagles foam head out here. We're down to party. We're down to have a good time, but most importantly, break this Eagles news down. And I want to see more likes on the ticker. 45 likes with more than 130 people watching live. Smash that thumbs up icon, like the video. We'll talk about this signing, what it means for this Philadelphia team, coming off their first loss of the 2022 season, and then we can answer some of your questions and your Super Chats as well. Got to get the 50 likes before we start talking about all this. We are 3 away. Seamus Gaffney, be like him, and like the video. Hen Rock, like the video. Bruce Cox, what it do? Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. We got the 50 likes. Continue to pepper that thumbs up icon. Tell your friends that it's going down here on Philadelphia Eagles Now, and let's break it down right here on the show. We have some breaking news to get to here on a Wednesday on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for tuning in. The Philadelphia Eagles have an atrocious run defense that has gotten gashed the last several weeks, haven't given up more than 100 rushing yards over the last 5 weeks. So Howie Roseman, he had to do something about it. No, Philadelphia is not signing Ndamukong Suh, which I would have preferred. Instead, they are signing longtime defensive tackle and longtime NFL veteran Linval Joseph to a 1-year contract. Is this the answer to the Eagles' struggles against the rush? A little bit of a background on Linval Joseph. He's been in the league for a minute, 34 years old, played his college football at East Carolina, was a 2010 second-round pick of the New York Giants, where he played and played well for several years, won a Super Bowl championship with New York against the New England Patriots. Then he really started to pick up steam and find his footing as a defensive tackle with the Minnesota Vikings. 2 Pro Bowls throughout his career, most recently in 2017, consecutive Pro Bowls in 2016 and 2017, and he is a big body in the trenches at 6'4", 329 pounds. And it has become apparent over the last couple of weeks that when you scan this Eagles roster and when you try to point out their deficiencies and their weaknesses, it is the Eagles' inability to stop the opposing rushing attack. You take a look at what the Eagles have done and how they fared against the run all year. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL against the run, last among 32 teams in DVOA, by the way, 22nd in yards per carry, 17th in total rushing yards, 18th in first downs, and 20th in yards per game. And the last 3 weeks, they have given up more than 140 rushing yards for the first time in franchise history, going all the way back to 2006. It started against the Pittsburgh Steelers when they accounted for 144 rushing yards. Then Dameon Pierce was able to lead the charge for the Houston Texans and put up 168 rushing yards as a team, was Houston. And then on Monday Night Football against Washington, the Commanders able to dominate time of possession. They converted 12 third down conversions. Brian Robinson had a big night, and they rushed for $152. The Philadelphia Eagles, folks, have been terrible against the ground. It's the first time in franchise history since 2006, as I said, that they have surrendered more than 140 rushing yards in 3 consecutive games. Now, is Linval Joseph going to be the answer? We'll explore that further coming up around the corner. But a reason why the Eagles needed to make this move, they've already been bad against the run, and they're going to face some of the top running backs in the NFL from here on out until the end of the regular season as they continue to battle for an NFC West crown, which just got closer with the loss to the Commanders, and the number 1 seed in the NFC, which also got closer. On the docket coming up for the Eagles this weekend, Jonathan Taylor. Make sure you tune in for our watch party for that, by the way. Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley twice, and I'm putting Tony Pollard on here as a little bit of a slight to Ezekiel Elliott, but also because I'm spitting facts when I say that Tony Pollard is the better running back as compared to Ezekiel Elliott. So much left to get to here on the show. First, though, I want to gauge where the fan base is at here. Do you like the signing of Linval Joseph? Let me know in the comments section by giving me a Y for yes or an N for no. Still to come, does this mean no Ndamukong Suh? Is Fletcher Cox cooked? We'll take a look at some Linval Joseph numbers, but also the Eagles had to make this move because of another injury at defensive tackle. Joseph's career stats. Been in the league for a minute, as I said. 171 games played throughout his career, 25 sacks. He's never been a big sack guy. According to Pro Football Focus, he's been like top 50 among defensive tackles against the run over the last several years. 56 tackles for loss and 75 quarterback hits. He did play last year with the Los Angeles Chargers and did play in 14 games, but didn't really do much. 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits, and 8 forced fumbles as a team the Chargers had last year. That's not just Joseph numbers. So that's a peek as to what he did last year. And obviously the big conversation right now, when is Jordan Davis going to come back? Because this is an Eagles team that has really missed Jordan Davis the last couple of weeks as he's been on IR with that high right ankle sprain. Has to go on IR for the minimum and miss the minimum of 4 games. He's already missed 2. And he's been seen in the locker room with no crutches. He was rocking J's the other day. So hopefully he's going to be able to come back. And then at that point, Linval Joseph will be a depth piece. If he's starting for you, that's not good news. But the rookie and Jordan Davis, first-round pick out of Georgia, why the Eagles have missed him is because this guy is a load to block up front and frees up other guys along the defensive line because he does demand so much attention. And for a rookie to have a Pro Football Focus grade of 78.4 against the run nearly 78 when league average is 70, those numbers really good. Pass rush is not his specialty, 64.2 there. If you're subscribed to the show, I want you to type me next up in the comment section because this is why you subscribe. Linval Joseph got signed. We went live immediately. We get to breaking news fast and deeper than anybody out there, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the know with videos every single day on the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get to Ndamukong Suh here in just a second because a lot of you are fired up about that. But first, today's show is presented by Established Titles. Black Friday coming up next week, holiday season right around the corner. You want a unique gift that'll make a significant other, friend, family member really happy and feel special because it's so unique? Established Titles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, lords, and ladies in English. You can buy these title packs, which will give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land right here with a unique plot number. This is a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and with that purchase, you'll get an official certificate with a crest, which is what we're about to show you. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted, and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. And moving forward, I want everybody to refer to me as Lord Chase Sr. because I bought my land, I have my certificate, and now I can include the title of Lord or Lady, like you, on your credit cards, plane tickets, and dating profiles. It makes for a great last-minute gift. So let's grow our Philadelphia Eagles Now Kingdom over there in Scotland. Established Titles is running a massive early Black Friday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. Plus, if you use the code CHAT at establishedtitles.com/chat right here, using that link, you save an additional 10% off. We'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. So with the signing of Linval Joseph, does that mean that Ndamukong Suh is not going to be signed by Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles? I would say yes. It probably eliminates that possibility outside of an injury taking place. I think Suh is the better player, the younger player. Is he a run-stopping, by definition, defensive tackle? No, he's more of a sacking defensive tackle. Is he the better player, though? Yes, and that's why I would have went with Ndamukong Suh, because I want to stack my roster with as much talent as possible, not stack it by need. And I think Suh, right now, currently, has the edge on Linval Joseph as an overall defensive tackle in this scheme and in the NFL. You look at what Suh has done the last 4 years, and these numbers are a lot better than Linval Joseph, who most recently made it to a Pro Bowl back in 2017. For Suh, he's consistently available. He's a game wrecker and a game changer. Yes, he does get penalized in a very frustrating fashion, like, say, Derek Barnett, but he demands attention at defensive tackle and along the defensive line, whereas Linval Joseph does not. And I think Suh next to Hargrave, Suh next to Cox would allow those players to play better as well. Last year, he had 6 sacks in 17 games played, so it's not as though he got washed overnight, whereas Linval Joseph, I'm a little bit concerned that he might be washed. So if you were Howie Roseman and you had to sign one player, who would you have gone with? LJ for Linval Joseph, and S for Ndamukong Suh? Let me know. Now, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, the Eagles made this signing because of injuries that also took place. And there's a lot of Eagles injury news to get to. We talked about Dallas Goedert yesterday and that shoulder injury. Today, officially placed on IR. He's out at least the next 4 games. Defensive tackle, Marlon Tuipulotu, has also been placed on injured reserve. He had been giving this defense a lot of snaps at defensive tackle. It is a knee injury for him. Nick Sirianni not sure if it's going to be season ending. The positives: the Eagles activated Tyree Jackson from PUP. They signed Marquise Blair to the practice squad and opened the 21-day practice window for Janarius Robinson. With defensive tackle, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Fletcher Cox. Couple things can be true about Fletcher Cox. I'm a huge fan of Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox is an all-time Eagles great. Since getting drafted out of Mississippi State, he for a long time was one of the best defensive tackles in the sport, probably number 2 behind Aaron Donald. But Fletcher Cox is making a lot of money, top 10 interior defensive lineman money, and he hasn't showed up for a little while, and this trend has continued to get worse for Fletcher Cox. As for what he's done in his last 6 games, it has been a problem considering the amount of money that he's making and the Eagles' biggest weakness right now, which is against the rush. 289 snaps played, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and just 2 quarterback hits. Among all defensive tackles, Fletcher Cox ranking 45th out of 66 graded by Pro Football Focus. He is making top 10 interior defensive line money. And he said before the year, I'm rejuvenated. I'm looking for another big contract. I still think I have gas left in the tank. Well, Fletcher Cox, you have to play better, because up to this point, you have been a no-show so far for this Eagles defense, and a big reason why they continue to get gashed week in and week out against the run. Cox, it's time for you to play a little bit better. Fletch, we love you, man, but you just have to improve. So is Fletcher Cox cooked? Let us know. Embrace debate. And if you're fired up, that's all good. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Let us know. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. All right. Get those comments in. And we will give you some shout outs here. Let us know what's up. 1 for yes, 2 for no. We can start taking some of your super chats. 200 people watching live, 24 likes away from 100. So hit that thumbs up icon and like the video to support the show. Just communicating with some of our behind the scenes people to try to get that video out for us that we just recorded. But we'll continue to stay live as long as we get some super chats here on the show. And we'll show you our super chat menu here. Just communicate with our behind the scenes peeps.
All right, guys. It's your boy, Jersey Trace. Y'all know I'm here. Y'all know what's going on. So, $5, we're ringing the Liberty Bell, per usual. $10, we're going to give you the E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles chant, of course. $20, you get on the Declaration of Independence. $50, Elijah, I saw you in the chat, my guy. $50 and I'm doing a freedom funnel for you. Dude, so Yesterday on was it? No, Elijah, were you in the watch party at the end of the show? Because we were doing freedom funnels of margaritas.
Oh yeah, we were.
That was
we were
wild.
getting crazy at the end of Monday Night Football.
crazy.
Adam Singleton was the MVP of the show.
Yeah.
Sending in a bunch of super chats. We were freedom funneling margaritas. We were shotgunning beers. We were doing
legit.
Borat voices. It was crazy. So that is our super chat menu. You send in a super chat, we'll continue to stay live. $5, ring the Liberty Bell. $10, EAGLES. $20, we'll get your name on this 5-foot-tall Declaration of Independence. A lot of names have been added so far over the last several weeks because Philadelphia is America's birthplace. And for a $50 super chat, we'll do a shotgun or we will freedom funnel. Use the hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to get featured on the show. Trace, let's start popping up some of those questions for some of the people who used hashtag Eagles. Tom Ness, why'd you let Thomas Mott go? We didn't. He's doing his own thing. He just left us here at Chat Sports, and I took over. And as a guy who grew up right outside of Philadelphia, I'm pumped up about it. So we'll start answering your questions. Get those Super Chats in. Chase, what are the chances of signing a free agent tight end? If so, who do you think it will be? I don't think the Eagles, Brandon, are going to sign a tight end. They activated Tyree Jackson. They have Grant Calcaterra, who I think is going to be the number one pass-catching option at tight end now. Jack Stoll is a decent backup. I think they just go in-house, and we'll see who steps up. I don't think they make an external move at that tight end position. Next one coming in from Taryn. I don't think he's cooked at all. He's on a one-year deal, and I think moving forward, he will play better. Talking about Linval Joseph. And for a long time, Linval Joseph has been a very solid player in the NFL. A lot of tread on the tires, a lot of experience. Came into the league all the way back in 2010. That's when I graduated high school, actually, which is crazy. Has made it to 2 Pro Bowls, most recently 5 years ago in 2017. Last year with the Chargers, really didn't do all that much. So that is some insight on the signing. G-Key, hopefully I pronounced that right. Odell comes to Philly. Any thoughts on that? I don't think the Eagles really need Odell Beckham Jr. I still think Quez Watkins can be pretty effective coming out of that slot spot. Quez Watkins is a speed threat who can take the top off of the defense and get vertical. He's playing okay, I guess. Obviously, the fumble against Washington really cost this Eagles offense. And that's why, I don't really put any blame on Jalen Hurts. I thought Hurts played well. The interception that he threw intended for A.J. Brown, it was in the hands of A.J., and oftentimes he comes down with those 50-50 balls. He just coughed it up. The ball to Quez Watkins was a dime. He has shown the ability to get behind the defense, but then he gets up and he fumbles it away. And if you sign Odell, like you're taking Quez off, you can have him in the slot, which I do think is really dangerous. Obviously, he's the more accomplished player and probably more talented than Quez Watkins. But I like how the Eagles kind of interchange their wide receivers out of that slot spot, whether it be A.J. Brown, who's inside, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal. They, up to this point, before the Dallas Goedert injury, like to use a lot of tight ends. So I don't think Odell makes a lot of sense. Big Dog 1891. Do you think we will blitz more than one time next game? Yeah, I'd like to see Jonathan Gannon be more aggressive. This just really isn't a part of his philosophy. Like, Jonathan Gannon continues to be really disappointing in dialing up pressures and dialing up blitzes. They did bring pressure more than one time against Washington. I thought that they were going to send more blitzes because Taylor Heinicke, when he has to face a blitz, just sometimes gets flustered, and that can force him to make a mistake. But the big focus for this Eagles defense is not how they do against the aerial attack. It's them continuing to get dominated against that ground game. John O'Malley, do you think Jonathan Gannon should get fired like I do? No, because the Eagles still have been one of the best all-around defenses in the NFL. And they have, if you look at some of the statistics. Against the ground, though, no, this Eagles defense has not played well at all, and they can certainly get much, much better there. Here's our Super Chat menu. Let's go. No Super Chats in. We get some Super Chats, we'll get the party going. $5 will ring the Liberty Bell. $10 will do the EAGLES chant. $20 will put your name on the Declaration of Independence. And for a $50 Super Chat, we'll do a shotgun or a freedom funnel. We're down to stay live as some Super Chats come in. In the meantime, let's ask you some questions here. Name a random Eagles player. A random Eagles player. Get it into the chat. A lot of random ones over time. Let me think of some. Man,
Jay
a
Ajayi.
random Eagles player. Reno Mahe?
Jay Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi was somewhat random, but is actually pretty good in that 2017 team. Charles Johnson, back in the day. John Runyon. Oh, Elijah! $50 super
We
chat.
knew he was coming in
We
clutch.
knew he was lurking. We knew Elijah was going to come through at some point. Is anybody going to match Elijah Stovall with that $50 super chat? He's the boss. Are you a boss? Show us what's up. Elijah with the 50-piece. Jason Babin from John O'Malley. He had that one good year after being signed from the New York Jets. And then after that, everybody was like, this guy in the locker room is the worst. And he actually sucked after that. Archaic with the good one. Dorial Green-Beckham. One of the biggest what-ifs for the Eagles and for the Tennessee Titans. He, in college, was really good for Mizzou. The dude was just an overall idiot. John O'Malley. Hen Rock said Freddie Mitchell. Todd Pinkston from John DeMarco. Todd Pinkston would have been a good number 3 wide receiver. The fact that he was Donovan McNabb's number 1 wide receiver, no doubt a problem there. Bruce Cox, Titans suck. Derrick Henry coming to town in a few weeks. Considering how this Eagles running defense is done, that's kind of scary. Another random Eagle. Let us know. 8 likes away from 100, by the way. Deuce Staley, John O'Malley. I have a funny story about Deuce Staley. So the Eagles, and I'm not sure if they still do this, they used to have these carnivals where you could get on the field at Veterans Stadium and Lincoln Financial Field. I went to a couple of them growing up. And I met Deuce Staley. I was wearing a Deuce Staley white jersey. I went to go get his autograph, and he said, you give me your Deuce jersey. I'll give you mine, and I'll autograph it for you. And I was like, but I love my Deuce Staley jersey. I don't want to give it to you. It's not going to fit you. I wonder if Deuce was serious, because if he was, I passed up on an opportunity to get a Deuce Staley jersey that was worn by him. So that's my funny story with Deuce. Trent Cole and Hugh Douglas, both great Eagles. Hugh Douglas was the man in the early 2000s for Jim Johnson. The Hugh Hop is do or die, baby. Do or die. The real ones know. Trent Cole, also a great edge rusher. A guy who just maximized his ability. Straight up. John, damn, Chase, you should have taken that deal. I know. Peter Thurman, Michael Vick. 2010 was fun. Outside of that, he was a very frustrating player. Elijah with the $50 super chat. We'll do a shotgun and a freedom funnel. If we continue to have 150-plus rushing yards against us, should we use one of our first rounders and another on a defensive tackle? Well, Javon Hargrave is going to be a free agent. Re-sign him. Don't re-sign Fletcher Cox because it looks as though Cox might be washed. You have Jordan Davis, and then do you sign a backup defensive tackle in free agency or get a young guy at defensive tackle? Now, they tried to address that last year with Milton Williams. I think he's better using his speed out in space because he's not that beefy of an interior defensive lineman. So, Elijah, you do make a good point there. And I'm going to give Trace his freedom funnel here, the staple, because he's going to do his freedom funnel. He was reaching for it like a little child. Mama, give it to me, my freedom funnel. And then I'll shotgun a beer as well for Elijah. If you want to get any super chats, and you can get me a beer there, Trace. Any super chats like Elijah, we're down to have some fun. A $5 super chat. We'll just ring the Liberty Bell. We'll just ring the Liberty Bell. $20 or more, we'll put your name on this Declaration of Independence. We'll give you the EAGLES chant as well. And, hey, with Elijah, we're never scared to get down and have fun. And I'm going to shotgun a beer for a $50 super chat because those are the house rules when we pitch them. And then Trace will do his freedom funnel. Who else is going to send in a super? Can't just be Elijah Stovall with the 50. Somebody else has got to support the show. Irving Fryer. I went to school with his nephew from John. I met Irving Fryer as well when I was a young kid. He was one of my first Eagles jerseys. I had an Irving Fryer jersey, which actually, if you go back and look at our watch party against the Jags, I brought out the Irving Fryer jersey from what I had when I was, 5, 6 years old, and I put it on during that watch party. It's very tight, very thin, but I did it because we got to a super chat number. He was really good with the Miami Dolphins. Okay for Philadelphia. They wanted him to be a number 1 wide receiver. Never was quite that. Tom Ness, Philly.
Philly.
It's on the mug. City of Champions.
Philly
Sip some coffee.
Philly D.
All right, let me do this. I have like 3/4 of this mug. If we get a $10 super chat, I will chug the rest of this coffee. And let me see how hot it is.
Oh,
it's still pretty warm.
Oh,
so a $10 super chat, I'll chug the rest of my coffee.
Guys, and if somebody sends in $100,
you see it in there.
Somebody sends $100. Whenever he turns around, I'm gonna spike it with a little bit of Fireball.
A spiked coffee for Elijah's $50
but
super chat.
It has to be secret. Has to be secret, $50 or $100. Chase can't see it. Chase has to turn around.
4 likes away from 100. Like the video. We're talking about Linval Joseph. What about Jerome Brown and Reggie White? Also legendary Eagles. R.I.P. to Jerome Brown. That was a tragedy. Henry. I still have a bitter taste after Monday's loss. I didn't want to lose to the Commanders. The Commodes. I like that, too, how you spelled it.
Yeah, they're a bunch of frauds.
John DeMarco, I got a good one. What do you got? We'll give you Yannick Ngakoue for Fletcher Cox from Bruce Cox. Different position. Defensive tackle as compared to edge rusher. But that would be nice. Tom Ness, did you see that stat? Every time Philly has this record, we went to the Super Bowl? Yes. Every time they've been 8-1, good things have happened. It's happened like 8 of 10 times. Yeah, not every time. I think the least that they've gone is the NFC title game, I believe. John DeMarco, Vince Papale, great movie. Great movie. Invincible. Yeah, Tom Ness, I did see that stat. 2 likes away from 100. Let's get to 100 likes here. Do you think that Jalen Hurts will be MVP if he keeps getting 3+ touchdowns a game from Penguin? He's certainly in the MVP conversation. If the Eagles continue to win games, then yes. If Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes were doing what Jalen Hurts is doing, then I think that they would be in the MVP conversation. But because it's Jalen Hurts, he doesn't get as much acknowledgement. He doesn't put up crazy passing numbers, but he's thrown for, 13 touchdowns and run for several more? Like, Jalen Hurts is accounting for a lot of touchdowns. Let me just take a double look at that stat for Jalen Hurts. $10 super chat. I'm going to chug my coffee. Don't be scared, because we're not scared. Let me see.
Also, can we get more likes on the video, guys? Like, we're at 101, 150 people watching. Let's pump those numbers up. Pump them up.
Jalen Hurts, he has thrown for 14 touchdowns. He has run for 7. So he's accounted for 21 touchdowns this year. 21 touchdowns to 4 turnovers for Jalen Hurts.
Damn.
It's a pretty damn good touchdown to turnover ratio. If Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes were putting up those numbers, people would go crazy.
I'm curious. I'm going to look this up. I'm curious what Patrick Mahomes' MVP season, what his numbers were.
Oh, they were stupid.
Okay,
he threw for more than 5,000 yards and like 50-plus touchdowns. Hurts is not going to do that.
In the first 8, though?
Oh, in the first 8
or 9?
They were still pretty good, obviously, because he was on that trend.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes that year was terrific.
Mm-hmm.
But if you compare Hurts' impact this year through 8 games and Carson Wentz's impact through 8 games back in 2017, I can make the argument that Jalen Hurts was the better quarterback. Carson Wentz's completion percentage that year was 60. That's not good. Jalen Hurts has been hovering around 67, 68%, and he's a better runner than Carson Wentz. John O'Malley, Todd Harrimans, Evan Mathis from Shane. He was good there for a couple of years under Chip. Linval is better for the vibes from Essential Vibes Entertainment. I like that. Nice. All right. We got a $50 super chat from Elijah Stovall, so I'm going to shotgun. Trace is going to freedom funnel. Anybody else wants to contribute to the show, we're down to have some fun and party a little bit. So cheers to the gang. Steve Van Buren, legendary name.
Oh, sorry, Mom.
Wow, that is so cold.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Whoa.
That'll really
I'll wake you up.
That'll really wake you up there. All right, so let's take a look at our super chat menu here. I'm going to put on the 2-minute shot clock. If we get super chats that come in, Peter Thurman, I did say if I got a $10 super chat, I was going to chug some coffee. So I'll do that here. Peter Thurman, my guys, I'm at work. Can I get a shout out for my coworkers, Rob and Will? Of course we can do that. Rob and Will. Ready? Rob and Will.
Rob and Will. Rob and Will. Rob and Will.
Let's go. Peter Thurman's a real one. He's been with me since the start of Philadelphia 76ers now. Probably do a video on that channel today. And, of course, when I took over here on Philadelphia Eagles now, Peter came over, and he's been one of the most diehard supporters of everything that I do. So I really appreciate Peter and then his coworkers, Rob and Will. You guys are the best. Let me chug some coffee for Peter.
Chug, 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 chug. And also, Steven, he's asking, are these guys drinking beer?
Yes, we are,
yeah,
Steven.
we are.
Yes, we are, Steven. Just shotgun to beer. We're drinking. We're partying. We're having fun. Here's our Super Chat menu, by the way. $5, we'll ring the Liberty Bell. $10, we also got to give Peter E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. $20, you get to sign the Declaration of Independence. It's about 5 feet tall. We will send this to the biggest Super Chatter, by the way. The number to beat, 150 from Elijah Stovall. As of right now, we're going to send this to him. $50 Super Chat. We'll do a shotgun or a freedom funnel. Antoine. Irving Fryer in Philadelphia played 48 games, 222 catches, 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns. Put more respect on his name. This is with Ty Detmer and Bobby Hoying at quarterback. Genuine quality. That chant was trash. What do you mean?
You want to see us do it better? Send $10 in.
We'll give you the Fly Eagles Fly theme song to really get into it. Antoine, I was not disrespecting Irving Fryer at all. I was saying that the Eagles expected him to be like a bona fide one, and I said that he was very good. He just didn't necessarily live up to being a number one caliber wide receiver. But yes, you make a good point, and I'll admit that you make a great point there in saying that he did play with Ty Detmer and Bobby Hoying. Remember when people thought Bobby Hoying was going to be legit? I also had a Bobby Hoying jersey back in the day. From Nebraska, the lefty. That was weird, throwing lefty. I'm a righty. Bang, look at those clean mechanics. All right, let's recap the news here for those of you just coming by. Philadelphia Eagles trying to address what has been a porous rush defense so far this year. They've signed Linval Joseph to a 1-year contract. And do you like the signing of Linval Joseph? Let's hear from you right now by giving us a Y for yes or an N for no. Seamus saying Ryan Matthews, a very random Eagle. He really was. Fumbled a lot in some really big spots. And with this Eagles rushing defense, they've been historically bad, both for NFL standards and franchise history standards. They have given up 140 or more rushing yards in 3 consecutive games for the first time since 2006. And over the last 5 games, Philadelphia has surrendered and given up at least 100 rushing yards. That is a problem. And there is a blueprint out there that teams are identifying right now. And Washington did a good job of it. With the Eagles offense, they have been so explosive. They have lit up the scoreboard. They have dominated opponents. So the formula that Washington used to their advantage, let's keep the Eagles offense off the field with these long drives that milk and take up the clock. Let's dominate time of possession, and that on top of forcing 3 turnovers against an offense that was terrific with ball security, and the Eagles had entered that game plus 15 in turnover differential. If we keep them off the field, they won't have an opportunity to find a rhythm. The Eagles offense likes to move it quickly. They didn't run it at all in the first half because they felt the pressure to pass, and they were down. But then Washington picked up 12 third downs. The Eagles couldn't stop the run, and because of that, Washington kept the Eagles offense on the sideline, and you could tell that Philadelphia was just uncomfortable offensively. They could not find their footing. Eagles stats against the run this year, they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL, which is why they made this signing. 22nd in yards per carry, 17th in total yards, 18th in first downs allowed on the ground, and then 20th in yards per game. The last 3 weeks, they've particularly been bad. Week 18, they gave up 144 to Pittsburgh. The following week, led by Dameon Pierce, 168. And in Week 10, 152. It's the first time in franchise history the Eagles have given up 140 or more rushing yards in 3 consecutive games since 2006. As for more on Linval Joseph, which is why a lot of you are here, 34 years old, played his college ball at East Carolina, was a second-round pick of the New York Giants back in 2010, won a Super Bowl over the Patriots, made it to Pro Bowls with the Minnesota Vikings in 2016 and 2017. That's how a lot of people are very familiar with him. And he's a big body at that interior defensive tackle spot, 6'4", 329 pounds. And since he's been in the league since 2010, he has some impressive numbers. He's been about top 50 in Pro Football Focus against the run, or for defensive tackles, I should say. 171 games played throughout his career, so very well traveled. Has a lot of experience, 25 sacks, but of course that's not always indicative of how good a defensive tackle is because he's by no means a pass rush specialist. 56 tackles for loss and 75 quarterback hits. A part of this conversation that has people fired up is that the Eagles have signed Linval Joseph. They have not signed Ndamukong Suh. Suh, of course, the more splashy signing if it were to happen. I think he's the better player. I would have gone with him, but Linval Joseph, more of a prototypical run-stopping defensive tackle, so maybe Howie Roseman thinks that he's a better scheme fit. Linval Joseph also did play with Jonathan Gannon with the Minnesota Vikings. So who would you rather have picked and signed? LJ for Linval Joseph, NS for Ndamukong Suh. Let us know right now in the comment section. Steven, go to your own team's chat room. Who's hating? Oh, Genuine Quality. They'll lose 4 of the next 5? You think the Eagles are going to lose 4 of their next 5? I think they're too good of a football team for that to happen. Now, are they going to be rattled mentally after suffering this loss against Washington? Is the blueprint out for teams to beat the Birds? Maybe. We'll see. The Indianapolis Colts, they do have Jonathan Taylor, and for an Eagles rushing defense that struggled, it doesn't get any easier. Trace, we can show the running backs who the Eagles still have to face this year. It's a long list of some elite players at that running back spot in the NFL. This upcoming Sunday, they're going to be facing Jonathan Taylor, as I said. Aaron Jones will come to town. So too will Derrick Henry. You have to play Saquon Barkley twice. And I put Tony Pollard on here, not Ezekiel Elliott, because he's been the better back as compared to Zeke. So these are the running backs that the Eagles do have to face for the remainder of the year. Some quality backs, some of the best in the league, and statistically, some of the most rushing yards have been picked up by these guys on your screen, and they're going to be going up against an Eagles team that they believe they can feast up against, and that's why the Eagles today have signed Linval Joseph. Our Super Chat menu for those of you who are just piling in is this. We have $60 in Super Chats. Can we get to 100? Can we get to $100 in Super Chats? Let's do it. $5, ring the Liberty Bell. $100, we'll give you the EAGLES chant. $20, we'll sign and put your name on this 5-foot-tall Declaration of Independence. $50, a shotgun or a freedom funnel. Now, Genuine Quality said earlier that chant was trash. I can understand why, because he is an Eagles hater. He said the blueprint is out for the Eagles right now, and he also said Philly is in trouble. He said they're going to lose 4 of their next 5. I disagree. But if you want to send in a Super Chat, we'll stay live. I'm going to put a 2-minute shot clock on. If we get any Super Chats inside 2 minutes, we'll continue to stay live, answer your questions, and kick it. If we don't get any Super Chats inside 2 minutes, then we'll just sign off, call it a day. We'll go about our business, and I'll get to some more content here at Chat Sports and start planning ahead for tomorrow's live show on Philadelphia Eagles Now, as we will be live tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. So our 2-minute shot clock is on. Send in a Super Chat. We'll stay live, continue to hang out. We're $40 away from $100 in Super Chats. If we get there, we could do something crazy. I'll do 50 jumping jacks if we get to $100 in Super Chats. Let's get it. Avon Barksdale. Random Eagle, John Harris. Thanks for nothing, Ray Rhodes. Elijah, ... Is anybody going to match Elijah? Somebody match Elijah. He paces a lot of our shows, although Elijah, Adam Singleton challenged you last week. He challenged you on Monday Night Football. He was sending in some bangers. Some bangers. So we're at 1:05 here on the clock. Any more Super Chats inside 2 minutes? We'll continue to stay live. $100 is the goal. We're at 60. Who wants to donate to the show? And in the process, we'll have some fun. We'll sing the Fly Eagles Fly song. We'll sing No One Likes Us if we get to $100 in Super Chats. We'll do that back to back.
If we get $10, we'll be at $69. Very nice.
$10, we'll get to $69.
Very
nice. How much?
Great success.
I like. Great success. The fact that the Commanders handled the Eagles so commandingly from Genuine Quality. All right, 20 seconds left on our Super Chat shot clock. Elijah Stovall, I saw him scheming.
Steven, who's the linebacker from Louisville? Are you referring to
Marcus Smith? He sucked. First-round pick, too. That's who you're talking about, Steven Paparo. All right, 10 seconds left on our Super Chat shot clock. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Elijah said, we'll just do a large one tomorrow. You can do a large one right now. For those of you watching on delay, we'll give you about 20 seconds. Any more Super Chats, we'll stay live. No more Super Chats, we're going to sign off. We'll call it a day. We already did what we had to do. Talk about this signing of Linval Joseph. For those of you who have been with us the whole time, we appreciate that. $60 in Super Chats. Thank you so much. What were AJ's numbers? 1 catch, Genuine Quality. 1 catch. What about Mike Kafka from John O'Malley? That's a good one, too. Current offensive coordinator for the New York Giants.
Say, where have I heard that?
Good hire by Brian Dable. All right, last call for Super Chats, then we're going to dip out. I'll give y'all 10 more seconds off that delay because a lot of people like to scroll back and watch us on delay. Elijah, he'll just do a large one tomorrow. Nobody wants to match Elijah. It's all good. All right. Appreciate everybody for watching our live show here. Nick Stone, Riley Cooper, another random Eagle. Yes. Good year one under Chip, and then we saw what happened at the concert. What was that, Kenny Chesney concert at Lincoln Financial Field? From that point on, man, nobody wanted anything to do with Riley Cooper. 5th-round pick, though, who played pretty well, was a good weapon there for Nick Foles during that, 2013 season? That 7-touchdown game against the Raiders for Nick Foles. Riley Cooper on the recipient end of, 1 or 2 touchdowns that game, I believe. Jordan Matthews, 2nd-round pick who was good for like 3-4 years. And after that, got traded to the Bills. He was nothing. Trey Burton, Philly special. Threw that touchdown pass to Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. All right, we're going to sign off here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Appreciate everybody for watching as we cover the news of Linval Joseph being signed by the Birds. Who was the guard? Who was the fireman? Danny Watkins, Steven. Danny Watkins. Love big Linval Joseph at nose tackle in my 3-4 Madden scheme from 2016 to 2019 from Jay Melito. Great hot start for the doo-doo Green Eagles. Now it's only going to get tougher. Genuine Quality. He likes being the heel. He likes being the hater. All right, we'll be live tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Make sure you subscribe, turn on your noties. Therefore, when we do go live, you will be notified. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. $60 in Super Chats. Elijah, you're the real MVP, and we'll catch you tomorrow here on Eagles Now.